Hello friends, we are back with more Ace Attorney because Ace Attorney waits for no man. Nobody. This is the adventure of the Unspeakable story. Investigation part 1. Yay! My voice is slightly gone, but Ace Attorney waits for no one. So here we are. The Hound of the Baskervilles? Hound was, but not such a hound as any. Oh.
It's coming! Sholmes's cry pierced through the thick wall of fog around us. Wisps of vapor flowed over the pistol as I cocked it, and I waited, breathlessly, in the stillness. The silence lasted for what seemed an eternity, until, at last, it appeared. From the shadows of the cloud, an enormous beast sprang out upon us. A hound it was. But not such a hound as any mortal has ever seen. Its eyes glowed with a smoldering glare. The whole of its ox-sized body was outlined in white-hot flames. Its rumbling pant and hideous howl, so terrified was I that I began to tremble with fear. "Look well, Wilson," Sholmes declared, gazing upon the mystical beast. "For this is the diabolical Hound of the Baskervilles."
Huh? I understand not. Ooh, 2 months. Our first 2 months in London passed by in a flash. In that disconcerted courtroom experience we were first thrown into on the day we arrived in the country, and in Sosuke-san's terrible ordeal that had followed closely behind, we had emerged victorious. However, there then came an abrupt end to our opportunities to appear in court. Which was hardly surprising, of course, since I was nothing more than an amateur, an unknown student of law from a faraway land. So life in our little office was very quiet. That is, until it was shattered one day by that fateful telegram. April 15th, yeah, that's been a couple months. Hello? Wow, that is quite the office, guys. That morning, I was woken by the unreserved knocking on the door by the telegram boy. But after he'd gone, Susato-san's behavior became a very, obviously strange. Susato-san? Yes? Is it time to leave for court already? Let me see. What case is it today? I don't think I'm scheduled to defend anyone at the moment, am I? Oh no, of course not. How silly of me. But I think Iris said she would make us breakfast this morning. So, shall we go down to Mr. Sholmes' suite? Yes. Iris makes the most delicious breakfast food. She does, doesn't she? And once our bellies are full, we can leave for court in fighting fit form. Let me see. What case is it today? Here we go again. Time for breakfast. Breakfast is yummy. Yay, breakfast. Morning, Runa. Morning, Susie. Good morning, Iris. Iris? What is it, Runo? What is it, Runo? What is that terrible noise? It sounds like a cat being strangled. Ah, yes. You noticed that, did ya? Harley isn't the best form this morning, it seems. Hello. Hello, Mr. Sholmes? Good morning. A good morning to die, perhaps. Has something happened, Mr. Sholmes? You look miserable, and the way you were playing the violin before. My analytical mind is dead. Music is dead. The world is dead. Are you okay? That's all it is, my dear fellow. Nothing of consequence. I'm afraid I don't understand. Me neither. Well, Iris, isn't it time we ate? Some dry toast and insipid coffee for me, if it's not too much trouble. Kitty! It's a baby! Oh look, it's... Wagga? Wagga? Good morning, boy! That must be some sort of tiny door for cats to use. How did it get there? I have a cat. I want a cat. Well then, everyone, time for breakfast. Oh, wonderful. Let me help you, Iris. It would indeed be a fine day to die. I knew something looked different. Something's missing from Mr. Sholm's desk. Wanting to die. You seem very unhappy this morning, Mr. Sholmes. What happened? It used to be the case that in my hands, this violin sung like the dawn chorus. Its melodic tones would make the flowers bloom. It would? But now, the muses are unamused with me. The goddesses of music have thrown me over. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? For hours I have bowed, for days even. Through the night I have endeavored, to no avail. That sounds... My tone is lost. That brilliant, clear, unwavering tone, gone forever. No more recitals of unbridled emotion. I didn't even know he played. Well, you haven't had practicing much lately, have you, Harley? Don't worry, I'm sure you'll get back at it. Heed my words, Mr. Nardle. The goddesses of the arts are fickle. One day they bestow genius on a man, the next they unmercifully withdraw it. Oh dear. Why is it happening to me? If they take the turn I have for the violin from me, what is left for pity's sake? What is left? Deduction perhaps? Isn't that what you're known for? Mr. Sholmes, I don't like to pry, but... Your desk looks rather empty today. Ah, well done, Miss Usato. Your observational skills do you credit. Oh, no, Mr. Sholmes. They pale in insignificance when compared to yours. You'd struggle not to notice, wouldn't you? You mean Early's great analytoscope? Sorry, it's a Windy Bank. It's at a Windy Bank. No, Windy Banks. The pawnbrokery. Pawn? What? You mean you pawned that enormous machine of yours? It has some considerable value, you see. Quite undeservingly. But isn't it a very important machine for your work? I do wish you had consulted us if your situation had become so desperate. I should have gladly passed what little income I have to you. Dear madame, things are far from desperate. But the pawnbroker has your wonderful machine. How can it be anything but desperate? Making use of a pawnbrokery is quite ordinary here in London, I assure you. It is? It doesn't sound ordinary at all. It would seem that neither of you fully understand how pawnbroking works. Oh, what is to understand exactly? What did you mean when we said we don't understand how pawnbroking works? To the people of London, pawnbrokeries are akin to banks. Banks? On Mondays, merchants relinquish their finest jackets and trappings to their pawnbroker of choice. With the money they receive in return, they are able to trade happily through the week. And then on Saturdays, they go to recover their things using the money they've earned. I had no idea. This has been a fascinating lesson for us. Everyone does it, you see, especially people in inner London. And should they have money to spare, they would purchase another fine jacket. Not to wear, obviously, but to pawn, should the need arise. Oh, how ingenious! So whenever we have something that's getting in the way, we leave it on the windy back to see. A pawnbroker we can have thought of as an extremely secure vault. Who would have thought that even pawnbrokers are different here in Great Britain? Of course, you'd have to watch Ollie with it. Sometimes he pawns things he really shouldn't. No kidding. Don't you, Harley? What does it matter? The world is dead to me now. Mr. Nosimus cat seems to have settled into his new home then. Oh yes, and I'll become very attached to little Waggy. I'm gonna call it Waggy, you know. Would it be his previous owner has completely forgotten to him? Cats are unfeeling creatures. Their meows are empty as their hearts are the muses. And Mr. Notome had no intention of taking Waggy back to Japan. I wonder why he kept him in the first place. I expect he would have taken him if he could. But pets are strictly forbidden aboard steamships in our experience. And for good reason. Terrible things can happen if the rules of passage are not obeyed. Well, I don't mind because Waggy's adorable. Yes, he really is. Oh yes, what about the door? I don't remember seeing that tiny thing in the main door before. Where did that come from? Oh, you notice? You are observant, Rudo. Look, I use this. It's my latest invention. What? What is that? I call it the cat flapper mat. Gosh, and a machine for making doors just for cats? That's right. It can make a cat flap for a little furry friend like Waggy in seconds. And I can do that in any door at all, no matter what it's made of. It's very powerful, you see. Wouldn't it have been quicker just to make it the cat flap, rather than making a machine to make the cat flap? Well, yes, maybe. But now I can make cat flaps anywhere I like. Oh, I think it's wonderful. You must make one for us in the door of our office upstairs, Iris. She really knows how to come up with unconventional inventions, this girl. Oh, what was that? Waggy? This is why I don't have a cat. What was that? Oh no! Waggle-Eye's tail is tangled up in your violin. I think he thinks it's a toy. No, what's he doing to it? Oh dear, Mr. Schultz's precious violin. Why should I care? What? I shouldn't be surprised. The cat is a more accomplished musician than I now. Says, what are you a musician? I don't understand. Mr. Sholmes really is in poor spirits, isn't he? Well, anyway, I'll put it back where it lives, shall I, Harley? Out of the cat's reach, if possible. Maybe we should assess the damage. a violin, is it? It's a Stradivarius, one of the finest violins in the world, made by the renowned Italian luthier, Antonio Stradivari. Stradivari, haha. Oh, I see. It doesn't look like anything special to me. I happened upon it covered in dust, languishing in a pawn shop down a nondescript back alley. The broker had no idea of its value, so I was able to purchase it for a mere 55 shillings. Shillings is crazy. Alright. How honorable of you. And until today, it had been my faithful companion in every great Paganini-inspired performance I have made. I don't know what happened to your accent, friend. I'm sorry. I ask you, is there a reason to live in a world devoid of music, to tolerate this blanched existence? No. There is none. Mr. Sholmes? What, dear madame, what? My thoughts are preoccupied with fancies of the release from this dull routine. Well, it's about the violin. It looks very different to normal, don't you think? What do you mean, Mr. Sodom? Oh, Susie's right. Yes, the tone of the wood is completely different. And that's not all. I'm sure there was no crack here before. Wait, it's not even the right size, is it? What's this? I'm terribly sorry to have to tell you this, Mr. Sholmes, but that instrument isn't a violin at all. Then what? I believe it's an entirely different instrument called a viola. What? What? He's so dramatic. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, are you alright? You're right. You are quite right. This isn't my faithful Stradivarius. So what, pray, is this piece of string flotsam? Not your faithful performing partner, then. Ah, I see what must have happened. You do, Iris. This is just a simple mix-up. Sounds like Iris might be able to tell us exactly what's happened if we ask her. The mix-up. What's the mix-up, Dove? What did you mean by a mix-up, Iris? Well, you see, this violin, this viola, I mean, was at Windy Maps until last week. At the pawnbrokers? Not Mr. Sholmes' beloved musical partner. There's a proverb from the East with which you are no doubt familiar, my dear fellows. Always let a beloved child travel. Indeed! So you sent your beloved violin to the pawnbrokers in the hope that it would experience personal growth? Oh, what a wonderful idea! Last week I pawned my great analytoscope in order to release my precious instrument. But it would appear Mr. Windybank mistakenly furnished me with this tawdry fiddle instead. But my ears cannot be deceived by the hollow timbre of this piece of timber. No, but your every sense was deceived by the fact that it just had strings. Pshaw! A fine state of affairs this is, and why I always say, Mr. Nardole, never trust a pawnbroker. They will try to fill you every time. But earlier you told us that you could think of a pawnbroker as an extremely secure vault. Come on, Mr. Nardole. Dilly-dallying won't get you nowhere. Sorry? Crunching your toast with that vacant aspect. Frosting your coffee so obtusely. Are you not a little embarrassed by your own conduct, considering the urgency with which we are faced? We must visit Mr. Windybank's brokery at once. Isn't that right, Mr. Sholmes? Why? Who cares? Precisely, Mr. Sato. Without a moment's delay. Gosh. But I haven't finished my bacon and eggs. Oh, that's tragic. That's tragic. Actually. My dear fellow, surely you do not still intend to crunch your bacon with an increasingly vacant aspect, to press your egg ever more obtusely. Alright, say no more. Let's go then. Don't worry, Muna. I'll be happy to heat up for you again later. Oh, thank you, Iris. As it happens, I am rather curious to see what a British pawnbroker looks like. La 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 la. La 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 la. So this is a British pawnbrokery. Oh my! There's all sorts of tools and contraptions in here that I've never laid eyes on before. Oh, Susato-san, that spark and wonder in your eyes. You can't wait to scour the shelves, can you? I get the impression you enjoy places like this. Oh yes, I don't know why, but seeing such a lot of things I don't understand is a real thrill for me. My dear fellows, let us not forget why we are here. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, we are calling on the matters of business, not pleasure. And clearly Mr. Sholmes means business too, judging from the spark of fury in his eyes. Gosh. Ah, Mr. Sholmes, welcome back. Did you hear that brazen welcome? Well, yes, we are potential customers after all. We are disgruntled customers, Mr. Nardo, and it's time to inform Mr. Windybake of our hire. Come, the fight is afoot. Naturally, you'll recall this, which I retrieved from you some days ago. Yes? This second-rate fiddle is not my faithful instrument, Mr. Windybank. The color of the wood is different. It has holes in it. It's not even the same size. A wonderful summary of our observations, Mr. Sholmes. I'm so very sorry, sir. How utterly unforgivable of me. And an inexcusable mistake for a pawnbroker. There's only one way to make amends. What are you doing? No. Put that away. Put that away. Put that down. I don't think that will be necessary, do you? If I may just say one thing before I pop off. Yes? It was you, Mr. Sholmes, who took it upon himself to remove the item the other day, I believe. Sorry? As I recall, I entered the storm to fetch your violin when I heard, here it is. You did? And when I heard the catch of it, you've taken the veil and left, sir. However, there can be no doubt that the blame lies firmly at my own door for allowing you to leave. So I shall not grumble across any longer. May this guilt die with me. No, stop, my dear fellow. The fault is mine. He's like... It would appear that the fight is over. I do humbly apologize, Mr. Windybag. Evidently, my questionable disposition precipitated this tragedy. Well, you wouldn't be Mr. Holak Sholmes without that questionable disposition now, would you? I do believe you may be right, sir. It's either laugh or cry, I suppose. You are, it must be said, one of my more challenging customers. I needn't remind you of the peculiar collection of items you brought through my door in the past. Oh, peculiar items. In the extreme, ma'am, for example, the unpublished manuscript of my eponymous work, the novels of Holak Sholmes or some such. Oh my, a new full-fledged novel? And unpublished? A story I've yet to read, you mean? Forgive me. Wait, before you die, you must tell me more. This behavior is concerning. The untold story. I must know more. Tell me everything. Wow, Sasato-san is really fired up now. Is there really an unpublished story under this very roof? Well, one day the gentleman brought in an old metal chest, you see. I should like to entrust this to your care for a while, Mr. Windybank. For a chest like that, 1 shilling, sir. Not a farthing more. It houses something of great value indeed. The latest manuscript, recounting the adventures of one Mr. Herlock Sholmes. I beg your pardon? A manuscript? You wish to deposit a manuscript? Indeed I do, for I'm confident it will be quite safe here. And that was that. And such Mr. Sholmes' latest tale of otherworldly mystery lies dormant in my storm room. Mr. Sholmes, is that really true? Do I sense that someone doesn't want to talk about this? I continue to pay your fee, do I not? Then kindly continue to store my belongings securely. Of course, sir, of course. They're safe and sound with me, I assure you. On my life, stop! This is all very strange and problematic. Oh my gosh. I wonder, could I ask you something? Ah, a gentleman from the east, I see. Yes, that sable suit. I suppose I could offer you 6 pence for it. Without wishing to offend, the tone is somewhat dull. Sorry? Ah, but for your splendid attire, ma'am. Five guineas, no less. The colors are exquisite, the design exotic. Eastern artistry is at its finest, I may say. Oh my, 5 guineas, you say? How interesting. Why do I feel as though I've suffered some sort of defeat here? Actually, I was hoping to ask you about your business. I've heard it said that the pawnbrokers are used rather like banks here in London. Yes, sir, indeed. Many of our customers utilize the establishment as you describe. I appraise their items and offer them a proportionate loan and 2 months of secure stowage. If in that time they repay the original sum to me plus the agreed interest, their items are happily returned. But what happens if they don't pay you the money? Then the items are offered for sale in my shop, as you can see on the shelves behind me. So you never sell items before the 2 months has passed then? That's right, ma'am. That's right. I just pressed that button. Should a customer's precious belongings be lost, the only recompense is for me to end it all. The very idea, Mr. Windybank, is an absurdity. One should never talk of one's demise so casually. Okay. Says the man who was telling us it was a good day to die only this morning. And let us not forget that I have already helped you take measures to ensure such a tragedy never occurs. Oh, what sort of measures? I engineered a simple device with which Mr. Windybank has installed here in his shop. I call it the red-handed recorder. Is that not so, Mr. Windybank? Gosh, not another recording. Huh. What was that deep sigh about? What on earth is a red-handed recorder? Use your eyes, my dear fellow. There are only 2 just below the ceiling. I can see what appears to be a camera attached to some sort of timing device. Very astute. It is indeed a camera furnished with some 100 pieces of celluloid film. And every 30 minutes precisely, the camera automatically records the appearance of the shot. Here, I have an example I can show you. Ah, yes. A print from the camera set to record the activity at the shop counter. Oh, someone's gonna steal that story, aren't they? I don't know why, but I just have a feeling. I developed a special type of film so sensitive it produces a crystal clear image even in darkness. Really? That's extraordinary. Yes, you can clearly see the counter and the door behind it. Look. Impressive. So you see, were someone to enter the premises with ill intent, his identity would be summarily exposed. But did you not say that photographic prints were only taken at 30-minute intervals? Indeed, as you say, my dear madame. Then what if the incident were to occur in between times? One could say that would be a cruel twist of fate. I must confess your devices have been giving me some cause for distress of late. I beg your pardon, Mr. Windybank. Surely they are anything but distressing. Reassuring is the word. It's the cost of the film, sir. You most graciously placed not one, but 2 cameras in my shop after all. Which means I must pay for nigh and 100 utterly useless prints every single day. I'm afraid the cost of film will break me before I'm much older. Nevertheless, a small price to pay to ensure the safety of my preferred pawnbrokery, no? My dear fellows, we verge on an age where safety and security come at a price. Oh, heaven help us. Interesting. Now then, Mr. Sholmes, allow me to return your precious violin. Ah, the very thing. Thank you, Mr. Windybank. Perhaps this might mark the end of the peculiar items you try to pop, Because if anything would happen to one of them, this would be the only answer. I really think you ought to stop waving that gun around. Someone could get hurt. Fear not. Sorry? I've only loaded a single bullet, so no one but myself could possibly be harmed. That's not really what I meant. Good day to you then, Mr. Windybank. It's been a pleasure as always, Mr. Schultz. I feel like he's gonna die, this case. I don't know. So, Mr. Nardo. Now we can explore at last. Okay. What an assortment of things here are the Bahada. What an assortment of things are on the shelf. Crockery, footwear, clocks, and watches. Almost anything you can imagine. Those are forfeited items offered for sale by the pawnbroker. What does that really mean, though? When you pawn or quickly pop an item, the broker loans you money against its worth. He stores the items for an agreed period of time, after which the loan must be repaid. If not, he is free to display it at the shop for sale at a price of his choosing. Oh yes, now that you've explained it, I'm noticing little price tags on everything. Of course, simply by paying the agreed interest on the loan, one can extend the period of safekeeping. So you may pawn that black garb of yours without fear, my dear fellow. My treasured university uniform? Never! It embodies my student spirit. That's not a calendar you could easily miss, is it? 15th April, today's date. Yes, it's not for sale, I must point out. It's an Eastern-style page-a-day calendar. Every night at midnight, I tear off the front page to reveal the following day's date. The perfect calendar for a tearaway fellow such as yourself, Mr. Windybank. And who is it before who walked out of here with the wrong violin before? Well, when I agreed the storage period was passed without repayment, articles are forfeited, you see. So I have to keep a close eye on the date. It's something of a pawnbroker's obsession, you might say. Oh yes, I can see why you're very dedicated to your job. Look at this! What could this lovely big shiny box be? That, my dear madame, is a music box. Surely you have such things in your own country? Oh my, yes, but I've certainly never seen one so large before. Shall we listen a while? Ah, what a sublime sound. It's like the music of angels. Never heard anything like it before in my life. This particular specimen is of a larger variety, commonly found in public houses and restaurants. There's a metal disc inside in which the notes to be played are recorded. Simply by replacing the disc with another, any music you care to imagine can be played. My goodness! What a simply delightful machine! Indeed, though their popularity has waned recently with the development of the gramophone, of course. Sounds Science and technology advance at such an overwhelming pace. There seems to be a little door hidden behind that curtain there. That leads to a storage room, where Mr. Windybank keeps articles that are currently in pawn. Ah, I see. There's nothing of particular interest inside. I certainly wouldn't recommend any larcenous activity. Recommend it or not, it's not something I tend to do. There's but one key, and Mr. Windybank keeps it in his pocket at all times. Oh, this is setting up a bad crime. Before he sleeps, he places it in a small pot, which he slides under his pillow. How on earth do you know that, Mr. Sholmes? I am a detective, sir. It is my business to know what others do not. I'm frequently assailed by information that I neither care for nor wish to retain. Mr. Sholmes, you are a wonder. And the prime suspect of this pawnbrokery is ever burglared. Okay. Look at that enormous ledger open on the counter there. Mr. Windybank, if nothing else, is very particular about recording the items he accepts. He'd have to be, otherwise he'd get himself into all sorts of trouble. Which might explain the thing that catches my eye far more than the ledger. This revolver here. Do not entertain even a single thought of pilfering an article, Aaron, my dear fellow. Huh? I assure you, Mr. Windybank would never hesitate to draw that weapon with a speed belying his portly size. Oh, you don't mean he'd blow his brains out? Indeed, in recompense for his blunder. Please, calm down. Oh my. But in any case, of course we would never do such a thing. How could you even suggest it? Wild behavior. What was that? Now, what do you suppose this rather enormous machine does? It seems to have two little windows for looking through. Allow me to enlighten you, my dear fellows. What you're looking at is a stereoscope. A stereos? Fascinating. It is aptly named, I'll show you. Look through the eyepieces and see for yourself. Oh, I should be delighted to. Excuse me while I just have a look. Just before you do, there's something I should point out. My dear fellows, in order to see the image properly, stereoscopically, as it were, you will need to be cross-eyed. However, if that is beyond you, it is of little consequence today. Alright then, I'm going to try it. Mr. Naruto, you must see! At once! Alright then. So I need to be cross-eyed? Look, I'm trying to look at my own nose. What the? I don't believe it. It's just a photographic print, but it seems like you could reach out and touch it. Yes, the sense of depth is startling, is it not? Stereoscopes are one of London's many fads. They are often found in little stalls in the park. People queue for hours to see them. Why? Why are people meddling with such black magic? It is no magic, my dear madame. It is, well, far too complicated to explain at present. We shall save this lesson for another day. Oh. Look at this! Whatever could it be used for? I have no idea. Ah. There's a small catch here. Look! We're gonna open it, aren't we? Oh my, that's amazing! It has some sort of spring-loaded mechanism, which will never manage to pull it back to the way it was before. What are you two doing? What? Us? Nothing. No, nothing at all. Whatever this device is, it seems to have a pair of little windows to look through. I feel as though I've seen something rather similar to this elsewhere. What? Only 2 punts for it? That ain't fair and you know it. The article is barely worth a penny, miss. I cannot afford more. What? Sounds like there's an argument brewing over by the counter. Come on, that can't be right. Have you even had proper butchers at it? I seen all you need to see, young girl. Oh no! Wait, don't we know? I'm sure I recognize her. Oh yes, it's that young lady from Mr. McGilda's trial 2 months ago. The pickpocket! I don't need a reminder. Gina Lestrade, my lord. She's a chancer and a curse among large crowds who live in peoples of their purses. What company called a pickpocket? She's an interesting fella. Gordon Bennett, you lot! Hello, Mr. Strad. I hope you've been well. Eh? What? You remember me then, do ya? Well, I remember being completely surrounded by smoke, that's for sure. So, what you doing in here? Down and out like the rest of us? Nothing to eat? Come to pop that black weasel sorry coat, have you? What is this about this black uniform that makes everyone comment on it? Good day, unless I'm much mistaken. You would be the young pickpocket who stole our experimental smoke grenade launcher. Ah, Mr. Sholmes! So, you have something of value to pawn, do you? Allow me to see the article and I shall negotiate with Mr. Windybank on your behalf. Pull the other one! I don't need no help from someone stuck up D. Get out of my business. Go on, I'll make trouble for you. As you wish, Mr. Strad. I will happily remove myself from your presence. This chick is weird. He's really done it, he's gone. I'm sorry, but as I said, there's really no room for negotiation here. What is the thing he has in his hand? Some kind of metal disc? And you, go on, leave me alone. Oh, Mrs. Strad, let's just pretend we aren't here. We shan't be offended in the slightest. Can really stand her ground when she wants to. Whatever. Somehow, I didn't really think you were the sort of person who'd use a pawnbroker, Mrs. Strade. Yeah? Well, I am, alright. I'm a Londoner just like everyone else. That's the problem, is it? No, not at all. It's just that, well... Oh, I get it. I know what you're thinking. That thing probably don't even belong to her. Probably got it in the dive, didn't she? Yeah, I can see it written all over your Chevy Chase. Well, I might have been thinking something along those lines. You're not going to deny it, Mr. Nardo? Alright then, I'm just going to come out and ask you straight. Do you pawn things that you steal from other people? Well, I don't know how best to answer that, really. Suppose sometimes. You're not going to deny it either, Miss Lestrade? But not this time, alright? I swear. That thing belongs to me. The disc. Perhaps we should go see what he has to say about all this. Where is this going, I wonder? Look at Mr. Windybank watching diligently over his shop. There's still so many things I'm curious about. I don't believe that this is the time for browsing. We should probably get to see whether the argument's been resolved yet. Mr. Windybank, what exactly is this metal disc that Mrs. Strade has brought in? It seems to have hundreds of tiny little bumps on its surface. Ah, this is a music disc, you see? For use inside a music box. A music box? What? You don't even know what a music box is? You Eastern ain't too savvy, eh? Yo, calm down. I know what a music box is. I've just never seen one of those discs before. The small protrusions on the metal disc encode the tune to be played by the music box. You simply insert the disc and set the machine going, and a beautiful music plays. It's so incredible. Tell us what tune is on the disc. Well, I'm afraid I couldn't tell you that. There's so many different types of music box, you see. British made, German, Swiss. I have no way of knowing what particular machine this disc was made for. I see. And that's it in a nutshell. I wouldn't have any customers for an item like this, even if the young lady forfeited it. Really, I'm already offering her more than I should at a penny. That's a packet of lies. He told me he did. He said it was, well... He? Who? Never you mind. It just ain't right, that's all. It's just worth good money, I know it is. Well then, you'd have to try your luck at another pawnbrokers, won't you? Ugh. She's been in here before, of course, this little tatterdemalion. I see. And brought some dubious article or other with her every single time, I might add. Dubious? What are you trying to say? I'm an honest customer, me. So, is there something dubious about the disc she brought in? Well, if only it were that simple. Sorry, what do you mean? What she actually brought in was a storage ticket. Ah, storage ticket. So, Miss Estrada has actually come to redeem an article from you today? Yeah, that's right. A girl like me has a lot of stuff what she's storing. Right, yes, that's definitely dubious. The article in question would have been forfeited at midnight tonight. But as she gave me the ticket for it, I repaid both in the loan and the interest. I was obliged to return the article to her. But what was the article? Do tell us, Mr. Whiteybank. The little scamp is wearing it, ma'am. It's the overcoat she redeemed. Oh. What? What's wrong with it? It fits, don't it? I mean, it's mine, so of course it does. So what about the disc then? How does that come into all this? Ah, the disc is something else. A new article to pawn, if the girl and I agreed a price. The new article. Why are you pawning off a disc? I'm confused. I thought you said that Mrs. Estrada brought in a storage ticket today. It's really quite simple. Yes, the child brought me a storage ticket and the money owed on it, you say? For this heavy black coat, which you returned to her care, as I'd understood it. That's right. Yes, and rather unsurprisingly, as soon as the little ragamuffin put the thing on, she went rifling through her pockets. Oh, you mean... Oh, I think I just turned on the music. Like, why does it sound so quiet? What? Don't you know it's rude to start a lady? Ah, I see. So it came from the pocket of the overcoat, did it? If you mean the disc, then yes, exactly, Mom. I don't know why the Irish just gets into everyone's book. And she immediately tried to pawn it for quite a high price as well. This is already rather suspicious, I think. Give it up. I'm just trying to pawn off something. Yeah. Mrs. Trade, may I ask who deposited the overcoat here in the first place? Well, me? It doesn't really appear to be your size. Me, old man. It's me, old man's, ain't it? It's me, old man's. It's me, old... Yeah. Is it, Mrs. Trade? Yes, it's definitely all rather suspicious. Out of the way, please! Who's this picture postcard English gentleman? Good day to you, ladies, gentlemen. What's the problem, eh? There is no problem as long as you remove yourself. have a matter to discuss with the proprietor. And if you intend to make a problem of it, I shall see you outside, little girl, for the hiding you deserve.
Look, ain't it obvious? I ain't done talking with him yet. If you think you're such a gent, you should know how to wait in line.
Well, you're an impudent little brat, aren't you? As well as a pickpocket.
Eh? Who are you? I don't even know who I am.
The question is, how do you not know who I am? You haven't the courtesy to even remember the faces of your victims, it seems.
What? You mean from you?
Broker.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I believe this filthy pickpocket has just redeemed an article from you, no? Yes, sir. The article in question belongs to me. I demand for it to be returned at once.
Oh my! No, that's a lie. What are you trying to pull?
Give me back my overcoat, you wastrel. And needless to say, any music box discs too.
No, you can't have it. You just can't. It's me old man's. Or it was. Now it's mine.
Goodness, Mr. Naruto. This is a very awkward situation. Yes, I think perhaps we should hear both sides of the story. What is going on?
Mr. Strad, what the gentleman is saying? What do you think? It's all lies, ain't it? Obviously. I swear on my life, I ain't never laid eyes on that dandy before.
Let's hear now, you little ragamuffin. You stole it, didn't you? That ticket you brought in here and just now.
No, I swear it. I swear.
It was barely an hour ago. I was walking along the street minding my own business when this little gutterling ran into me. I knew at once what had happened. I've been robbed yet again, I thought to myself. Those wretched pickpockets. Yet again? Oh yes. As you can see, I am a man of impeccable style. This isn't the first time I've been targeted by these back slum scoundrels. Now then, relinquish my overcoat. Come along, Mr. Strad. Give the good gentleman his coat back. If you're going to cause trouble, I shall have no choice but to call the police.
Hold on. Why does everyone think it's me? Just look at this Danny Cove. You think I'm the dodgy one?
I'm sorry, but no one's going to believe you.
Well, what about evidence? Yeah? Where's the evidence I stole something, man? So come on, let's see it.
Oh, I have evidence, naturally.
You what?
Let's see it.
Evidence that the article Mr. Strad redeemed actually belongs to the gentleman. Of course! We need only consult Mr. Wendybag's ledger to know the truth. We'll be able to look up the name of the person who deposited the article in the first place.
Yes, brilliant! I'm very sorry, but I'm afraid that won't be possible.
Oh?
I never ask customers' names. That's a strict policy of mine.
But why not?
Well, now, as you can imagine, some of my customers have circumstances to consider. A great many of them prefer to maintain their anonymity.
Yes, I see. But then how can you know if the article belongs to the person asking to redeem it?
Oh, it's quite simple. Good sir, might I trouble you for the watchword associated with the article in question? Of course, it's Professor. Yes, that's right. All the evidence we need. This gentleman is the rightful owner of the article, without doubt. A watchword. Interesting. So about these watchwords, as I explained,
I never ask customers' names when they deposit items with me. There are many reasons why. Certain customers would like to keep their activities secret. That was exactly a subtle glance at Mr. Sholmes now, was it? Or was it a subtle one? Great detectives have no dark secrets. Not at all. Uh-huh. Yes, well, anyway, that's why I always ask for a watchword whenever I accept a new article. In many ways, it's like the secret combination of numbers you use to unlock a vault. The date of deposit, a description, and a watchword uniquely identify each item. And of course, then I give the storage ticket to the customer. When someone comes to redeem something, I ask for the ticket and the watchword. And if that someone tells you the correct watchword, you return the article? That's right, sir, yes. Just as soon as the requisite fee is paid. And I have supplied you with the information you require already, but for the avoidance of doubt. The article in question is an overcoat deposited 2 months ago on 15th February. With a watchword of Professor. All perfect correct information, sir. But ow! Really, this is beyond a joke now. There's no further room for doubt. I didn't mean to do that. Oh, where'd Mr. Sholmes go? I thought we were going to talk to him. We'll talk to the English jet, I guess. Picture postcard gentleman. Excuse me, but who are you? One would expect the inquirer to introduce himself first. Though clearly you are not British, so perhaps our ways are foreign to you. Why are we like this? Sorry, yes, we're from the Empire of Japan. We're studying here. Ah, yes, Japan. I've heard talk of the place. Its inhabitants live in some fiery brown-colored soup, dressed up with exotic spices. What? Oh my... Okay, alright. You might be thinking of somewhere else. And what was that theatrical just... Yeah, like what? Perhaps, anyway, if you're a gentleman, sir, you offer your own name first before inquiring after the name of another? Of course, yes. I'm Ryunosuke Naruto. I'm a lawyer. Well, a student of law, really. My name is Susato Mikitoba. I'm Mr. Naruto's assistant. I see. My name is Benedict. Yes, Edward Benedict. Enchanté. He's so refined. No, he's just a fake. Now, to the matter at hand. Is he related to Sholmes? My overcoat. Return it at once to someone with the style to carry it off. Every move he makes, every breath he takes, I can't stand watching him. Just return the coat. So let there be an end to the matter. And thank you for your custom, Mr. Edgar Benedict, sir. With such reasonable rates of interest, I may even decide to come back. This is why I hate grown-ups. Just because I'm a diver, everyone thinks it makes me a liar. And the contents of the coat pockets, if you please, broker. But of course, sir. Here's the disc for you. Just this one. Pardon, sir? I was expecting another. That is, I deposited another. Another disc? Oh dear. I regret to inform you, sir, that was what was deposited with me, was merely the overcoat. The disc happened to be in one of the pockets, but I was completely unaware of it until now. So, Gutterling, you're hiding more of what's rightfully mine, are you? Says who, I don't know nothing about it. Very well. Then I shall bid you farewell. Say goodbye to style. Wait a minute, the dat disc? is mine. Oh, what do you think you're doing, you little tramp? You've drawn blood, you filthy animal. Oh my, yes, there's blood on the disc. It's because of all those sharp little bumps. The man must have scratched his finger on them. I found it first, alright? I mean, it belonged to me. So you're not having it. Or you take it. Me? If I hang on to it, they'll have me off again. So you keep hold of it. Mr. Straight Eye, why is this disc so important to her? No, why am I agreeing to do this? You there, in the Black Library. Hand that disc to me once, please. No, don't. He's lying. Grown-ups are liars. What do I do now? How am I gonna resolve this? Run away. Alright, convert. Examine, I guess. Mr. Sholmes! Mr. Sholmes! What are you examining with such keen interest there? As you enjoy a bar of caramel, I see. Oh, that looks so good. He's back to normal. So, you found me at last, Mr. Nord. Sorry? After that young pickpocket sent me on my way, I was forced to lurk in the shadows, cruelly ostracized as the rest of you partook in the jovial atmosphere of fellowship. I had nothing to occupy my mind, but was too ashamed to let society see what my downfall had done to me. So feigning mock interest, I pretended to examine the tedious trinkets in this desolate place. Whilst, as you shrewdly observed, gnawing on the only friend I have left, this 7% solution of caramel. Pray, do you claim to understand the depths of my despair, Mr. Naruto? But how could you? I was so lonely, so desperately lonely. Then why on earth didn't you rejoin the conversation? Things have gone from bad to worse here, you know? Yes, I overheard much of your conversation. Or rather, in my craving for human contact, my ears devoured every word that was uttered. You really were sad, weren't you? Poor Mr. Sholmes, I feel simply awful for you. It would seem that my inferences are correct. Oh, surely you're not about to tell us that you solved the entire case once again? My dear madame, sometimes I wonder, were my geniuses for deduction to be commoditized? How much could I pawn it for? Seems Mr. Sholmes had another of his flashes of inspiration. Who knows if it would help resolve the situation? What's the right thing to do here? Nah, let's do it. I'm gonna drink my little drink and we're gonna listen to his little story. Cheers. Well, Miss Lestrade, it would appear you find yourself in something of a predicament. He's talking with the other dude now. What the blue boys to take it better? Pardon? When a lady's in trouble, a true gent's supposed to be there to help straight away, not an hour later. Harsh. It has been an hour, hasn't it? And who, pray tell, are you? Mr. Edgar Benedict. You have in my eyes a veritable encyclopedic array of curiosities about your person. Nevertheless, there are two immovable conclusions I have drawn. I beg your pardon. The first is this. The true reason for your visit to this pawnbrokery today is something you have not yet revealed. And the second is this. A considerable crime is in contemplation. One you will orchestrate with intent to steal a vast sum of money. Well, Mr. Benedict, what say you to my deductions? How? He's turned as white as a hard-boiled egg. It would seem that once again, Mr. Sholmes has made a flawless deduction. Just who do you think you are, sir? Ah, yes, as I hoped. That is precisely the pained expression I was looking for. I don't know if he's a genius or an idiot. So, shall we begin? The time has come for yet another Herlock Sholmes. Logic and reasoning spectacular. The game is afoot! Mystery Man's aim. First of all, we must ask— oh, I keep clicking too fast. You claim to have followed this pickpocket here, having had a redemption ticket stolen from you on the street. But that is most certainly a lie. The real truth is something quite different. As revealed by that which you hold in your hand. Yes, what brought you to the shop in the first place is that staff recruitment flyer. Oh gosh. That piece of paper in your hand is a staff wanted advertisement from this very shop. Yet even the most unobservant would soon realize that a man of your appearance has no need of such employ. In other words, there is some ulterior motive for your actions. Ha! The cane which you unwittingly clutched to your person exhibits an incontrovertible contradiction. What utter rot! I have had this cane for years. The contradiction of which you speak, of course, is the missing furrow. The end of any walking cane would be terminated with a metal furrow to protect the wooden tip. And yet, detailed analysis shows the wooden tip of this stick to be utterly bare. Therefore, there is only one conclusion. The rod which you hold in your hand, which appears to be a walking cane, is in fact no cane at all. You recoil, sir. Is something wrong? And in recoiling, you inadvertently facilitate the answer of the next conundrum to present itself. Namely, what is the truth behind this rod you bear? Yes, your reaction betrays the truth. The handle which you evidently would like to conceal is the key to understanding this riddle. From the moment I saw it, my suspicions were aroused. What walking cane demands such a stout handle, mused I. But of course, as I said, this is no walking cane. No, that rod. Is the broken handle of a shovel. What? Are you insane? And now, having determined the undeniable truth, the conclusion is clear. Your true motive for coming here? Murder. Was to take employment at this establishment in order to excavate the ground beneath the premises. At least it wasn't a lion this time. What a calculated crime you have conceived, sir. A wickedly calculated crime. To tunnel underneath the pawnbrokery? Bro. Topic 2, great crime. Now, Mr. Benedict, let us continue. For we must expose the details of this elaborate crime you have in the planning. This is utterly absurd. You suggest that I, a gentleman, intend to excavate the ground beneath this pawnbrokery with a broken shovel? What on earth do you propose I could expect to find there? Some long-forgotten treasure, I suppose. Save for such a fanciful theory, what possible reason could I have to do as you say? I can word. Oh, but there's ample reason. As you are only too well aware, Mr. Benedict. Ah, and your furtive glance is more telling than I could have hoped. What? Let us consider what would motivate a man to infiltrate a shop such as this and covertly dig beneath its floor. The answer is revealed by the console notice on the counter, which your eyes were inadvertently drawn. I'm thinking he was looking at the gun. This letter gives notice of public works to be carried out in the local area. And according to the enclosed plan of the upcoming sewerage works, beneath this shop runs a sewer that adjoins another, one that runs under the bank on the opposite side of the road. This madness has entered the sewers now, has it?
By excavating the ground beneath our feet, you would gain access to the waterway that flows in the very close proximity to the great vaults of the financial institution opposite. What are you? In summary, sir, you devised a master plan to pull off an elaborate bank robbery by dint of the underground tunnels. Master plan? Which brings us at last to the final chapter of this lurid scheme. With what plunder did the thief hope to make off from the underground vaults of the bank? Are you quite serious? Having consulted with Scotland Yard some days ago, I happen to know the answer. But naturally, the answer is no secret to you, is it, Mr. Benedict? I have no idea what you're talking about. Allow me to present another interesting piece of evidence. You see, the picture of postcard tells us all we need to know. A postcard of the Great Exhibition. I'm afraid you've quite lost me. Currently in the final stages of preparation, the Great Exhibition will soon be underway, and the government has provided extra funds to complete its centerpiece, the Crystal Tower. Funds that currently sit in the vault of the bank on the other side of this road. Pardon? Yes, the considerable crime you have been contemplating is the theft that which sits in the vault of that bank. Special reserve funds for the Great Exhibition. Of course, that is top secret police information, so keep it under your hat, please. Money. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this pawnbroking puzzle. Mr. Sholmes. Well, Mr. Nanowrimo? An impressively upbeat deduction for a detective racked with loneliness, would you not agree? Was it true what you said about the bank over the road and what it has in its vault? Indeed, though few know of its existence. It is one of the government's most closely guarded secrets. Gregson told me in the strictest confidence. But you just said, announce it to everyone here. Rather loudly, in fact. And if it's such a big secret, how would Mr. Benedict have come to find out about it? There can't be one explanation for that. Clearly it's because the man is a criminal. But what if he didn't know anything about the money in the vault, if he is a criminal as you said? Then buying a brand new shovel is sure to be the first thing he does now that you've revealed the secret. Oh. Or if he doesn't, maybe Mr. Wendybag will. He already has plenty of shovels here after all. On my life, I assure you I'm not so unscrupulous. Well, hopefully this has taught you a valuable lesson. Sensitive information must be handled with the utmost of care. One can never be sure that someone's privy to secrets won't disclose them, and once the word is out, it's out. Perhaps I'll think twice before confiding in you next time, Mr. Sholmes. An excellent idea, Mr. Nanowrimo. An excellent idea. Well then, Mr. Nanowrimo, you know what to do, I'm sure. Yes, let's listen to the great deduction again and see if we can massage it into shape. Goodness. Very well then. Let us start once more from the beginning. Of Herlock Sholmes' magnificent logic and reasoning spectacular. This is so fun. I love it. I'm gonna replay the first game and like wanna do deductions. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Yeah, like what? You know what? At least he didn't say that he was keeping a lion in an apartment or something. Okay, what business have you? You claim to have followed the pickpockets. That is a lie. So it's not that. So by Mr. Sholmes' reasoning, Mr. Benedict came here in order to apply for a job so he could dig down through the floor. Yes, in an attempt to tunnel into the sewers to gain access to the money in the vault of the bank across the road. But he wouldn't get very far with a broken shovel, would he? No, I think it's fair to say his motives lie elsewhere. The question is where.
What did bring Mr. Benedict here on this particular point in time? What is he hiding there? Oh, scribbled writing, I see. Oh! Look at all the scribbled notes on the back of the flyer here. I don't believe it. What is it? Listen to what it says. Name, Gina Lestrade, height 5'2", green cap, scruffy waistcoat. Whoa, it's a detailed description of Miss Lestrade. Goodness, there's even a sketch of her, hat and all. Although if he showed it to her, she'd fire that smoke grenade launcher in his face for sure. And look, the details of the shop have been written down here too. Windybags Pawnbrokery, Baker Street. Redemption deadline, 15th of April. Which is today's date. Why would Mr. Benedict have all that information scrawled in the back of that piece of paper? La 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 la.
Take that!
Take that! Yes, what brought you into this shop in the first place is the info about Miss Lestrade. Quite so, my dear fellow. It would appear that the writing and sketch on the reverse of the flyer pertain to the pickpocket Miss Lestrade and to Mr. Windybags Pawnbrokery here. You originally told us that you had merely given chase after Miss Lestrade stole the redemption ticket from you. But that, sir, is the thinly veiled lie. It is the information on the back of the flyer that led you here today, by which I mean, here to Windybags Pawnbrokery, and today, the redemption deadline of that overcoat. So you waited outside for the young girl matching the description you have written down to arrive. And you have gone to some lengths to hide the reason for your pursuit of Miss Lestrade. In other words, there's something ulterior motive for your actions. The cane, which you unwittingly clutched to your person, exhibits an I can't say that word. What utter rot. I've had this cane for years. But contradiction which I speak, of course. In the missing... Yeah, what? What's a ferrule? It's the metal cap commonly found on the end of a cane. That bit makes a nice clacking sound on the pavement. Exactly, Mr. Sholmes is right. It appears to be missing. But it doesn't actually look broken, does it? No, it doesn't. Though the gentleman certainly did recoil when Mr. Sholmes identified the cane as suspicious. In other words, there's some secret about the cane that Mr. Benedict would rather we not know. Look here, Mrs. Sato. There's some letters on the handle. Yes, that must be initials, I think. In the West, it's customary for people to engrave their belongings with the first initials of their names. So true, though. So Herlock Sholmes would be HS, you mean? That's right. And the initials on this cane, obviously. Oh, AG? Suspicious. I present evidence. I don't know where this is going, but it's interesting. The contradiction which I speak, of course. In the initialing, a most astute observation, would you say, Mr. Egert Benedict? We are led to believe, sir, that your initials are EB. Yet, in the most possessive manner, you have in your grasp a cane bearing the initials AG. An incontrovertible contradiction indeed, would you not agree? No, you're wrong. This cane isn't... You said before that you'd had the cane for years. So don't try to tell us that you just borrowed it from a friend or found it in the park. In short, though you hold yourself to be a gentleman, you have withheld your true name. You recoil, sir. Is something wrong? And in your recoiling, you inadvertently facilitate the answer of the next conundrum to present itself. Namely, what the truth behind this rod you bear. Yes, your reaction betrays the truth.
The handle, which you evidently would like to... What the? Okay. Let's consider the bare bones of what's happening here. Mr. Lestrade redeemed the fine-looking overcoat, and now a mysterious man has appeared, introducing himself with a fake name, and claiming that the overcoat belongs to him. But we know that he actually identified Mr. Lestrade from a written description, which suggests that everything else he told us is untrue. What we need to do here is somehow prove that the overcoat cannot possibly belong to him. Okay, let's just look at the handle. It is a rather strange handle, for sure. Yes, certainly unusual for a gentleman's cane. You expect to see such a cane being twirled charmingly by its owner as he skips merrily down the street. You do? Ah, something has just occurred to me. We have a shovel back in our office, don't we? Yeah, you're right. And its handle is exactly the same shape as this cane's. Here we go. Now I'm starting to wonder if it's not actually a cane at all, but a spade. Mr. Sholmes' deductions are curiously compelling, aren't they? Is there anything else I can even point at? I've been looking closely at this hat for some time now, and it suddenly occurred to me that a bright white top hat like that just might be the hat for me. You like it, do you? I think I do, don't I? Well, in that case, you can see that there isn't something similar about among his forfeited items. After we've concluded our investigation, we must focus on the task at hand. So is it the handle? I don't know what the problem is. It must be the handle. Maybe it is the handle.
Take that!
Nope. That's wrong. The initials are AG, but you've introduced yourself. Okay, I know that's going to be a life loss. I'm going to save it here, though, because I'm not entirely sure what they're going for. Maybe there's something behind him. Alright. The initials, blah, 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 blah. There's nothing you would take from another man, is there? Are you quite concentrating? You've identified exactly what I did originally. Oh yes, so I have. Sorry. Well, I do understand. As inimitable as I am, people do like to try. But you wouldn't make a great detective like that. Nor even a great detective's assistant. An assistant's assistant then? Alright, I'll think again. What, do I just like die when I run out of lives? Okay, mine is exclusively black. There's no doubt about it. The black coverage doesn't suit him at all, but we needed a more tangible way of proving it. Okay, is there anything like behind him? Maybe it's the hat.
Take that!
No, the music didn't stop. Okay, I don't know. Okay, hold on. Let me load where you're at. I just don't trust myself. We got a long way to go with this deduction, so. It's gonna take a second to load. Alright. Okay, hold on. Now I'm gonna save it. Here we go. Here we go. That's a better place. Okay, so it's not the hat, it's not that. There must be like, maybe there's something behind him? I'm just confused where this is going, but we'll figure it out. Oh, what's behind him? Oh, a split seam. Oh, I see.
Take that!
Got it. I didn't see that. Also, it doesn't fit him.
The split seam, which you evidently would like to conceal, is the key to understanding this riddle, you see.
Huh. Yes, because the overcoat is rather obviously a poor fit.
Having forced it over your broad shoulders, the seam is already breaking apart.
I relate.
My suspicions were aroused from the outset.
So cinematic. When you so boldly lied about your name and so boldly waylaid this pickpocket. Oh, no. This catalogue of untruths has all been one very specific purpose. To steal the article that the young girl redeemed from Mr. Windybank. But what really irks me is this. The considerable crime I initially imagined has been considerably curtailed. It's always so far off. I can't. Topic 2, everybody. Alright, so let's continue. We must expose the details. This is utterly absurd. You suggested using the watchword? Had I not been one to deposit it in the first place? How could I possibly have known the relevant details? Oh, but the watchword can be discovered. As you are only well too aware, Mr. Benedict. Ah, you and your furtive glance is more telling than I could have hoped. What? Let us consider how you might come to learn a secret watchword relating to the pawn property of another. The method is revealed by the console notice on the counter which your eyes were inadvertently drawn. The direction of the dungeon must change rather dramatically now, I think. Yes, no more talking of tunneling into the sewers, which is a pity because it all sounded rather exciting. Anyway, you can't deny that this mysterious gentleman did know the watchword. Yes, Professor. If you don't know that word, Mr. Windybank would never allow you to redeem the article. Or looking at it another way, if you did know that word, Mr. Windybank would allow you to redeem the article whether it was yours or not. So the question is, how could he have found the watchword? There's a console notice. Is there like a... Oh, the... Wait, there's like a list. What's the notelet? Let's see. What does that say? Look at this, Mrs. Otto. Ah, it appears to be a memo. Let's see. What does it say? Oh, Professor. Ha, that was easy. Mr. Windybank must make note of the watchwords his customers give him right before their eyes. And an alarmingly clear script as well. Oh dear. I don't know where to look. Who knows what other secrets I might see.
Take that!
That's wild. The method is revealed by the notelet on the counter at which your eyes were inadvertently drawn. Huh. Yes, the broker here follows the same procedure whenever a customer comes to redeem an article. He asks the customers for the watchword and notes down the response uttered in the notelet he has in to hand. Then he consults his ledger and confirms whether or not the watchword matches that of the article in question. I would expect nothing less of a diligent pawnbroker. But his diligence clearly has its disadvantages. What are you talking about? I didn't mean to press that. It is incredibly apparent that you were present in the shop before your accusation against Miss Lestrade. In all likelihood, you followed her inside and then observed her talking to Mr. Windybank. When the diligent broker made note of the watchword, as is his common practice, you observed him writing the word professor on the notelet beside the ledger. And that, sir, was the master plan you devised to steal the pawned article from the young Miss Lestrade. Master plan? Huh. Which brings us to the final chapter of this lurid scheme.
Why would you go to such lengths to redeem that particular article from this pawnbroker? Are you quite serious? For an ill-fitting coat, hardly seems to justify the effort, much less a worthless music box disc. But naturally, you had a very good reason to make them yours, didn't you, Mr. Benedict? I have no idea what you're talking about. Allow me to present a rather interesting piece of evidence. You see, this picture postcard tells... We're still stuck on this? The articles we're talking about are the overcoat and the music box disc that was in one of his pockets, which according to Mr. Weinbeck isn't even worth a penny, and yet this man went to such lengths to steal them. Why? I wonder if perhaps we already have the evidence we need to explain it. Could we? Really? Let's examine it first. Ah. Oh, there's a little scrap of paper. And a scribbled word, too. For McGilded. McGilded? It couldn't be. But it is, Mr. Nardo. The name I shall never forget for as long as I live. But why? Why is his name on this? We're going back to the OG, are we? Let us present this. Take that! Okay. You see, this disc is written out to... What's that on the back? It reads for McGilded. Ah. Ah, Mr. Magnus McGilded, the unfortunate philanthropist who perished in curious circumstances at the Old Bailey 2 months ago. A prominent man in London, though his loan-mongering demonstrated a distinct lack of scruples. Oh, I didn't mean to skip that. Mr. McGilded was a man of unusually small stature. In fact, he was precisely the right size for that overcoat that you squeezed yourself into. Ugh. Your true identity remains shrouded in mystery, Mr. Egert Benedict. But the final conclusion here is crystal clear. The reason you came to this pawnbrokery today was to retrieve an article left behind by the late Magnus McGilded. What? I don't know why. I don't know why you want that for, but you know, whatever. Do as you please. Do what you will. Whatevs. Deduction complete. Where is this going, though? I don't know. I'm very curious. Well, Mr. Magnus McGilded. Not a name I expected to hear under these circumstances. Mr. Sholmes, I'm afraid there's something very troubling on my mind. Pray tell, Mr. Sato. Well, according to what Mr. Windybaggle told us earlier, today was the final day on which the coat could have been redeemed, was it not? Yes, ma'am, that is correct. Today would be precisely 2 months since it was first deposited. Well, today is 15th April, so 2 months ago today would have been the 15th of February, sir. That's right. It's all carefully recorded in my ledger. Deposited at 10:30 p.m. What? But that suggests... Yes, 15th February is precisely the day on which the ominous murder took place. And 10:30 in the evening is precisely the time at which the terrible events were unfolding. Suggestive is not a word. It would seem the matter is entirely beyond coincidence. You are, of course, at liberty to make whatever outlandish deductions you choose, however. I must insist you hand over the music box disc now. It would be a terrible shame for you to return to your native land in a box. What do I do? Okay, I'm gonna save. I ain't giving that to you. See, if it was me in real life, frankly, I could care less. I'd given you whatever, but this is video game land. I face no direct consequences. Absolutely not. There are some things a man must protect at all costs. This may well be one of those things. Then again, it may not.
Hold it!
Mr. Windybank, this is my shop. I can't allow any harm to come to my customers. If that were to happen, I should have to take my own life. Mr. Windybank, no. All right, that's enough. Inspector Gregson. Inspector? That's right, Sunshine. The alarm was raised in one of our dedicated emergency lines. So we got here as fast as we could. Now, what's all this about, eh? Oh, praise be, you're here at last. I was moments away from forfeiting my own life in my very own establishment. It would seem you have the upper hand. Right. You lot have got some explaining to do. I don't appreciate being bothered with some petty argy-bargy. Petty? Mr. Windybank was nearly met with his end. What about me? Yeah, by his own gun as far as I can tell. Oh dear. And the whole British could meet it with its end if I don't get to the bottom of this case I'm supposed to be working on. What? What on earth is the case? Spare no detail, Gregson. I might have said a little too much. No matter. It's nothing to do with you lot. Anyway, sir, you're gonna have to come with me down to the station. But of course, Inspector. Ah! He's getting away! Get after him, lads! Whistle the beat officer too. Sir! Oh no! He ran. That was quick. There's been a spate of thefts at pawn shops around here recently, so we fitted the emergency buttons underneath the counters for brokers to let us know when there's trouble. Oh, Inspector, I was very worried there for a while. Very worried indeed. Now then, Mr. Permanently in mourning. Oh, yes? Because of the black coat. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'll be taking that, whatever it is, to Gilda's down to the yard. Thank you very much. So hand it over. Oh, yes, of course. No, don't give it to him. It's mine, that is mine. I'm sorry, miss, but anything belonging to Begilda has to be taken in as evidence now. As evidence? If the police demand something as evidence, my dear fellow, we have no choice but to capitulate. It's all yours, Inspector. Why do you need that as evidence? And so we handed Mr. McGilda's disc over to the Inspector Gregson, and we're summarily turfed out of the shop and onto the street. Interesting setup. I don't know where this is going, but I'm intrigued, and you will see me next time.